Hello everyone. Uh, I am presenting my assignment number one, which is Titanic Survival test. This is a test from Kaggle, which we know. In this test, we first in order to complete this test in data science, we import all the libraries that we need. Here we use logistic regression. So first, after importing all the basic libraries, and then we import the data set from train.csv, and we always keep the same file in the same folder to make sure that it is easier to manage. And then we check the data. Now in the data we can see that there is name, and there is ticket, and there is cabin, and we don't know which cabin someone is living in for a lot of the cases. And even though when we know this person can be either dead or alive, we cannot sure. And the ticket number has a significance in the uh, Titanic, but it doesn't give us any more information other than the fact that it exists. And there is no way that someone with a specific name may be alive, or someone with a specific name will always be dead. So these three columns in this data sets are most likely to be useless. So but first we will check all the data types of this data. But we can see that these are integer type, these are string or character array, these are string or character array, these can be objects. So they will be called objects. So these are object. Fare of the train, the fare of the ticket is and floating point number. So then we just look at all the data that has mean, median, max, mean. This will give us an average idea, such as uh, the class of more than 50% people is 3, and we know that 3 is the lowest class, and classes of around 25% or more is second class, meaning as 25% or less people is living in has bought second class tickets, and more than 50% people at the very least has bought third class tickets. And then we can check all the data, such as for example, for gender we can see this chart, and there is another chart with for where they are embarked. So then we can see if there is any null value or not in this data, in this entire data set or not. So then we count this null value and see which we actually need. For example, we definitely need age, uh, because when the Titanic was sinking, uh, age was another deciding factor whether the person will be put on rafts or not. And they are maybe useful from where people has embarked on, because maybe someone has embarked on from a specific station, a specific shipyard, and they will have closer seating from the rats. So we drop these name, tickets, and cabin data, which we already talked about, that are not needed, and then we replace those non character data uh, with a numerical with a character data with a numerical value, because we actually do not want them to be character data, because calculations usually do not work on non numerical values. And then similarly we fill all the non values with either mean or mode, uh, and then we set the passenger id of those as the index of the data set. This is useful. This is actually as not as useful as we need, so we can skip this. Then we then we set x and y, where x is the input data sets, which is fare, sibling, spouse, class, pair, gender, or where the people has embarked, and output is if they have survived or not. And then we test a logistical model with this, and see that this data set will be able to give around 80% accurate answer. Since it will be give around 80% accurate answer, we can just go ahead and use this. But instead of doing this data, instead of using this as 25%, we just use the entire data set. So we, instead of using this logistical model, we create a new logistical regression model with LR, and we use that model and we create and fit the model. By fitting the model, we actually set up the value of those models, of those regression points. Then we go ahead and check for the test dataset, which is in the test.csv file in the same folder. So in the test.csv file in the same folder, so we do the same things that we have done for in this train datasets. So we then replace all the null values, uh, drop name, ticket, cabin number, and uh, replace with numerical values, replace object value with numerical values so that the calculation can be done. And then we check the test data info, and then we also check if there is any null value or not. I think we have counted here. There is no null value, so we can just go ahead and we don't have to set any null values. So we check the infos. The infos is as similar as all of those integer or float, meaning all of those are numerical values. Since all of those are numerical values, we can set x and output data sets. We can guess x and y, but since there is no y or output data set in this test test data, because there is only passenger class, saving spouse, and that's it. These are, there is no, if they are all alive or not, survived or not is not here. So we have to create the output layer, output values of using predict with predict, and we predict the data with the test data we have, we on the model that we have created on the entire data set. And then we said submit this data, and then we output this data as a CSV file with passenger ID and CSV format, the same format that Kaggle is asking us to use. This dataset is giving us around a 76.79% accuracy, 76.79 blind accuracy as well in Kaggle. So this is our first assignment number 1 from Code Alpha, and thank you for watching.